The more I looked into Elena Moore's case, the more I felt like everyone was asking the wrong question. Most people are focused on the 11th of June, the gym, the surveillance footage, the wooded area where her body was eventually found. But friends who knew Elena say the story may have started weeks before that. About a month before she vanished, Elena suddenly stopped posting on social media. That might not sound unusual, until you learn that posting online was something she did constantly. Then, according to her friend Sandra Campbell, Elena said something that is difficult to ignore. She said she was scared for her life. Not stressed, not worried. Scared for her life. And when Sandra tried to find out why, Elena told her they needed to talk privately. That conversation never happened. A few days later, Elena made a phone call to Sandra. Sandra missed it. Elena never called again. Now here's the part I can't stop thinking about. If Elena knew something was wrong, if she was trying to tell someone, what was she trying to say? Because the deeper this investigation gets, the more it feels like the biggest mystery isn't what happened on the 11th of June. It's what happened during the 30 days before it. And those 30 days may hold the answer to everything. Every other channel covering this case is talking about the 11th of June, the gym, the surveillance footage, the woods. This video is about the 30 days before that. What changed? What Elena was afraid of? What she tried to say? And why she never got the chance. Subscribe. Let's go through it. The detail that stays with me about Elena Moore is not the disappearance. It is what the people who loved her say about who she was before any of this started. Elena Katherine Moore was 39 years old. A personal fitness trainer at Wolf's Fitness Center in Lexington, South Carolina. She bartended at multiple locations. Worked at a CVS. Not one job, several. A person who showed up. She and Brannon had been together for more than 13 years. They married in 2024. Sandra Campbell had known Elena for over 10 years. Her words, "We're really close, like tell each other everything." She's been that person for me for a long time. She was very active on social media. Friends knew what she was doing, where she was, how she was feeling. She documented her life the way people who enjoy their lives do. And then, approximately 30 days before the 11th of June, she stopped. Not a gradual slowdown. A stop. The kind that the people watching her noticed immediately, because it wasn't her. Most people following this case believe Elena disappeared on the 11th of June. She didn't. She started disappearing a month before that. Lauren Beasley, a friend, told Fox News, "She is very active on social media, so her going radio silent for the last month is out of character." Approximately 30 days before the 11th of June, something shifted. The online version of Elena, the version her friends relied on to know she was okay, went silent. Friends noticed immediately. They didn't know what it meant. Around the same period, Elena had a stay at a mental health facility. This comes from a source, not an official police statement. Former FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer said that mental health issues and relationship problems aren't mutually exclusive. She could be having serious mental issues and having problems in the marriage, and then also be having mental breaks. Both things can be true at the same time. For 30 days, Elena was quiet. People who loved her saw it happening and didn't know what they were seeing. Then, on the 31st of May, she was at a brunch. And what happened at that brunch is the moment this case becomes something very different from what most people think it is. Before the brunch. Before the missed call. Before the 11th of June. There are 30 days that investigators are now reconstructing from almost nothing. Lauren Beasley told Fox News Digital that she and Elena had last spoken about a month before the disappearance. Normal conversation. Nothing unusual. No mention of fear, the marriage, anything that would make a friend pause. And then Elena went silent. Not just quiet, gone. No posts. No check-ins. No replies to the people who had come to rely on her regular presence online. Here's what stands out to me about that silence. Friends noticed it immediately. Not weeks later. Immediately. Because it wasn't a gradual quiet, it was a stop. I've been thinking about those 30 days since I first read Beasley's account. Because Lauren didn't know until after Elena disappeared that she had stopped posting a month before. She had been watching. She had noticed. She had assumed Elena was fine. Because Elena had always been fine. That is what 30 days of silence looks like from the outside. Normal. Quiet. Waiting for a post that never comes. What it looked like from inside those 30 days, nobody can say yet. But here is what the silence tells us. It was building toward something. The brunch was not the beginning of Elena's fear. The brunch was the moment it finally surfaced. The 30 days of silence didn't mean nothing was happening. It meant everything was happening somewhere nobody could see it. I've been thinking about that brunch, the 31st of May. Elena was at a brunch with a group of women, including Sandra Campbell. Sandra noticed something immediately. Elena was acting differently. She kept getting up, looking around, looking toward the windows, not casually, watching, like she expected to see someone walk through the door. Sandra didn't push it. Not with other women at the table. At the end of the brunch, as they were leaving, Elena pulled her aside. She was scared for her life. She actually said those words to me. Elena told Sandra she needed to explain. Not here. Not in front of other people. I can't talk to you right now. There's too many people around. We've got to talk one-on-one. She said the words. She asked for exactly what she needed. A private conversation with the one person she trusted. Sandra walked away carrying 4 words. She didn't know who Elena was afraid of. She didn't know what had happened. She knew Elena would tell her when they had the chance. They never had that conversation. Before we get into what happened 4 days after that brunch and what a Ring camera captured of Elena that same week, subscribe to Crime Deepcut. When this investigation produces results, we will be here. 4 days after the brunch, around the 4th of June. Sarah Burleson and John Moore live approximately a half mile from the Planet Fitness where Elena worked out. Their Ring doorbell recorded something that I kept coming back to, not because it is dramatic, but because it doesn't fit. A DoorDash driver dropped food at their door. Elena Moore approached and picked it up, as if the order belonged to her, as if this were her home. When John Moore opened the door, she handed the bag back. She seemed confused, disoriented, not aggressive, not visibly in distress, simply not processing where she was. Burleson encountered Elena again shortly after. This time, Elena was going through packages stacked outside a neighbor's door. Do you know my neighbor? No. Then what are you doing? Elena's answer, word for word, honestly, I don't know. Now sit with that for a moment, not just as a sad detail, as a puzzle. Elena Moore is a fitness trainer. She is described by everyone who knew her as sharp, grounded, strong-minded. On the 4th of June, she cannot explain to a stranger why she is standing at their neighbor's door. What happened to Elena Moore between early May and the 4th of June that produced this? Was this a medical episode? A reaction to medication? A mental health crisis building over 30 days? Was she running from something and lost her bearings doing it? The Ring footage does not answer those questions. Neither does anyone else yet. But here is what we know. The 31st of May, Elena said she was scared for her life. The 4th of June, she was found confused at a stranger's door, unable to explain her own actions. Those 2 data points are 4 days apart. And that same day, the 4th of June, she made the call. Elena called Sandra Campbell on the 4th of June 2026. Sandra missed it. She saw the missed call. She tried to call back. She texted, no response. Elena Katherine Moore never called again. Here is what I can't get past about the 4th of June. Elena was carrying 4 words since the 31st of May. She had said she was scared for her life. She had said she couldn't explain it in public. She had been found confused at a stranger's door the same day. Something was clearly happening, visibly, physically, and she was trying to reach the one person she trusted. She picked up the phone. She dialed. The phone rang. Sandra didn't answer in time. Elena didn't leave a voicemail. When Sandra called back, silence. That is the center of this case. Not the missed call itself, but what was on the other end of it. What Elena was going to say. What she had been building towards since the 31st of May, since early May, since whatever happened in those 30 silent days. The conversation never happened. And what Elena was trying to say on that phone call is now something only the investigation can answer. 7 days after the missed call. Elena signed into Planet Fitness at 560 Whiteford Way at approximately 6:40 p.m. olive green zip-up hoodie. Black athletic pants. Surveillance footage shows her walking through the Publix parking lot on Old Cherokee Road at 9:17 p.m. 2 hours. 37 minutes. Those 157 minutes are one of the most important unresolved gaps in this entire investigation. There's no confirmed sighting of Elena Moore between 6:40 p.m. and 9:17 p.m. No documented stop. No named interaction. No footage. No phone record that has been made public. She was inside the gym for some portion of that window. At some point she left. And 157 minutes later she appeared on surveillance. On foot, no vehicle, heading toward Old Cherokee Road. Where do you go for 157 minutes after a workout? What does that route look like? Who do you see? What conversation, if any, changes the direction you're walking in? Sandra said it plainly, my friend would not be alone walking at nighttime. She just wouldn't be. It's not her. A woman who does not walk alone at night. Walking alone. After dark. No vehicle. Between 6:40 p.m. and 9:17 p.m., something happened that placed Elena Moore on foot after dark, heading toward a road her closest friend says she would never walk alone. What happened in those 150 to 7 minutes is not known. What ended them is. Her husband Brannon Slice reported her missing the morning of the 12th of June. Her body was found near Old Cherokee Road and North Lake Drive on the 17th of June. Elena was positively identified by the Lexington County coroner on the 20th of June. Cause and manner of death have not been publicly released as of this video. The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division is leading the death investigation. Autopsy results are expected but have not been released. The more I looked at what investigators are working with, the more I understood why this case hasn't moved faster. They are not starting from the 11th of June. They are starting from early May, from the first sign that something changed. These are the documented gaps they are working through. What was Elena afraid of? She named the fear as imminent and personal. A woman who says scared for my life is not describing vague anxiety. What was the source? What happened in the 30-day shift? Social media gone. Mental health facility. Disorientation at a neighbor's door. A progression that began somewhere in early May. What was driving it? What happened in the 150 to 7 minutes on the 11th of June, between 6:40 p.m. and 9:17 p.m.? Who was she with? Where did she go? What changed? And why did she walk alone at night toward a road her closest friend says she would never walk alone? Brannon Slice is not a person of interest. He reported Elena missing. He has been described as cooperative and visibly distraught. That is the official position. Multiple friends have stated publicly they believe there is more to this story. Sandra said directly, "I do believe there's foul play." That is her belief. The investigation has not confirmed or denied it. Fox News Digital reported Elena had expressed in a Facebook message a desire to move out. A News Nation source described relationship difficulties. Neither is officially confirmed. Both are part of the documented context investigators are examining. When the autopsy results are released, when SLED makes its findings public, Crime Deepcut will be here with a full breakdown. Subscribe so you're here when that happens. Here is what investigators have and what they do not have. They have a body, a confirmed identification, surveillance footage, a timeline, SLED running a death investigation. What they do not have, what nobody has, is Elena's own account of what was happening. She tried to give it. At the brunch. She tried again on the 4th of June when she picked up the phone and called the one person she trusted. The conversation never happened. But the more I looked at this case, the more I realized something that changed how I understood the whole investigation. Investigators are not just trying to solve the 11th of June, they are trying to understand what started happening in early May. Because the 11th of June is where the case ends. But those 30 days, that is where it begins. The surveillance footage on the 11th of June shows where Elena was. The autopsy will eventually show how she died. SLED will reconstruct the 150 to 7 minutes. But none of that answers what Elena was afraid of. None of it explains the 30 days of silence. None of it tells us what she needed to say so badly that she couldn't say it at a brunch table, and called Sandra the moment she was alone. Whatever the autopsy shows, investigators will still need to answer the question Elena was already carrying on the 31st of May. Why was she scared for her life? That question existed before the search began. It was named before anyone knew it would be the last thing she ever tried to say. And whatever Elena was trying to tell Sandra on that phone call on the 4th of June is now one of the most important unanswered questions in this entire case. Elena Katherine Moore was 39 years old, a fitness trainer who showed up. A friend people called. A woman who spent 30 days afraid of something she could not say publicly. She tried. She said the 4 words at a brunch. She dialed the phone on the 4th of June. The conversation never happened. When the autopsy results come back, when SLED releases findings, when this case moves, Crime Deepcut will be here. Subscribe.